Hello everyone, welcome to Bhatakurs IAS Academy, Northeast's premier institute for UPSC, APSC and NPSC preparations. I'm your friend Atreyi and today I'm here with another segment of Current Affairs 365 dated 27th of September 2021. This is your one-stop solution for any news and updates which will help you prepare for your civil services examination, and along with that it is also going to be beneficial for any other Assam state government services. So don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Facebook as well as Instagram for any further details related to state government jobs and also civil services examination. The first news of today is related to the first in-person meeting of Quad countries. Recently, this meeting was hosted by the United States, and here issues like climate change, COVID-19 pandemic and challenges in the Indo-Pacific region amidst China's growing military presence in the strategic region were discussed in this particular meeting. Now, going to the background of Quad grouping, in November 2017, countries like India, Japan, US and Australia, they gave shape to this long pending proposal of setting up of the Quad in order to develop certain strategies which will keep the critical sea routes of Indo-Pacific region free from any other influence. China claims nearly all the disputed region of South China Sea, though Taiwan, Philippines, Brunei, Malaysia and Vietnam also claim some parts of it. The South China Sea is an arm of the Western Pacific Ocean. In the year 2020, that is last year, a trilateral naval exercise named Malabar, it expanded in order to include Australia, and this marked the first official grouping of the Quad since its resurgence in 2017. Further, it is also the first joint military exercises among the four countries in over a decade. The Quad leaders met virtually in March 2021 and later they released a joint statement which was titled as The Spirit of the Quad. It outlined the group's approach and objectives. And just before this meeting, the US announced a new trilateral security partnership for the Indo-Pacific region between Australia, UK and US, which was together named as AUKUS, that is A, UK and US. Now, the major highlights of Quad Summit includes discussion on Afghanistan, and here all the countries agreed to deepen their cooperation in South Asian countries. Then the Quad Vaccination Initiative. Under this initiative, the countries have pledged to donate more than 1.2 billion COVID-19 vaccines globally, in addition to the dosage which were financed through COVAX. Next point was regarding the building back better health security. They have emphasized for a global pandemic radar to improve the viral genomic surveillance and expand the WHO's global influenza surveillance and response system. Also, the G7 grouping recently announced Build Back Better World initiative, that is B3W. Based on similar lines, Quad will also establish high quality infrastructure which will share its expertise, capacity and influence in the region and try to identify new opportunities to meet the needs of these areas. The countries also discussed issues regarding how to solve the climate change problem. And in this context, Quad countries has envisaged to establish green shipping network for deployment of green port infrastructure. Then clean hydrogen partnership in order to strengthen and reduce the costs across all elements of the clean hydrogen technology. And lastly, on climate adaptation, resilience and preparedness. This was discussed for increasing the Indo-Pacific region's resilience to climate change by improving critical climate information sharing and disaster resilience infrastructure. The Quad nations, they need to better explain the Indo-Pacific vision in an overarching framework with the objective of advancing everyone's economic and security interests. This will reassure the states that Quad will be a factor for regional benefit and a far cry from the Chinese allegations that it is some sort of a military alliance. Moreover, India has many other partners in the Indo-Pacific region. Therefore, India should pitch for countries like Indonesia, Singapore, etc. to be invited to join this organization in the near future. The next news is about the recent a new report which has been published by the World Meteorological Organization on climate indicators and sustainable development, demonstrating the interconnections. The World Meteorological Organization studied 7 climate indicators, which are carbon dioxide concentration, temperature, ocean acidification and heat, sea ice extent, glacier melt, and the sea level rise. Its release coincides with the United Nations General Assembly annual session and the opening in September 2021 of the Sustainable Development Goals Action Zone. This is dedicated to the accelerating actions on the Sustainable Development Goals. The key major aim of this report is to contribute to the Sustainable Development Agenda and to inspire leaders to take bolder climate actions. In the face of ongoing climate change, poverty, inequality, and environmental degradation, the understanding of the connections between climate and international development is a matter of urgency. Then increasing temperatures also will result in global and regional changes, which will uh, eventually lead to shifts in rainfall patterns and agricultural seasons. The intensification of El Nino events is also generating more droughts and floods. The major concerns here is regarding rising of the concentration of carbon dioxide. This will impact all the 17 United Nations mandated sustainable development goals. Moreover, due to the rise in concentration of carbon dioxide due to human activities, this is going to be a key driver of the global climate change. If we have a look at the impact on sustainable development goals, then we can see that increase in concentration of carbon dioxide, which will eventually lead to rise in global temperatures. If this is left unchecked, then it would negatively impact efforts to combat climate change under the Sustainable Development Goal number 13. This would happen because of uncontrolled rise of carbon dioxide emissions, which would be indirectly responsible for risks related to the remaining 6 indicators. Then both food insecurity and loss of livelihood may drive conflicts which are related to resource management, thus in turn going to threaten the regional peace and stability, which comes under sustainable goal number 16. So, in order to mitigate the climate risks, World Meteorological Organization recommends to work on 3 sustainable development goals. These includes the improved education, goal number 4, global partnerships, goal number 17, and sustainable consumption, which comes under goal number 12. The next news is related to medical device parks scheme. Recently, Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers has launched the scheme for promotion of medical device parks in order to support the medical devices industry in line with Atmanirbhar Bharat. Here, the medical device industry is actually a unique blend of engineering and medicine. It involves the creation of machines that are used to support life within the human body. And medical devices, they include surgical equipments, diagnostic equipments, as well as life support equipments. Diagnostic equipments like cardiac imaging, density scans, MRIs, X-ray, ultrasound imaging, etc. Then life support equipments are, it includes the ventilators, implants, and disposables. The main objective here is the easy access to standard testing and infrastructure facilities through creation of world-class common infrastructure facilities via medical device parks. It also aims in reducing the cost of production of these devices and to provide better availability and affordability of medical devices in the domestic market. The total financial outlay of the scheme is rupees 400 crore and the tenure of the scheme is from financial year of 2021 to financial year 24-25. Coming to the financial assistance in a selected medical device park, it would be 70% of the project cost of common infrastructure facilities. And in case of the northeastern and the hilly states, financial assistance would be 90% of the project cost. The center has granted in principle approval for parks in the states of Himachal Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, and Uttar Pradesh. The medical device industry in India is valued at 5.2 billion USD, which contributes to about 4 to 5% of the 96.7 billion USD Indian healthcare industry. India is one of the top 20 markets for medical devices in the world and is the 4th largest market in Asia after Japan, China, and South Korea. In June 2021, the Quality Council of India and the Association of Indian Manufacturers of Medical Devices, they launched the ICMED, that is Indian Certification of Medical Devices 13485 class scheme, in order to undertake verification of the quality, safety and efficiency of medical devices. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has also noted that medical equipment would qualify as drugs under Section 3 of the Drugs and Cosmetics Act of 1940 from 1st of April 2020. The medical device parks have been set up in the states of Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Last year, Kerala established the MEDS Park, one of the first medical device parks in the country, in Thiruvananthapuram. The Government of India has also recognized medical devices as a sunrise sector under the Make in India campaign of 2014. In this news, we will see we will try to understand what is social accountability. Okay. A statewide campaign has been launched in Rajasthan for demanding passage of the social accountability law in the next assembly session. Regarding this, a committee under the chairmanship of former State Election Commission Ram Lubhaya was constituted in order to advise the government on drafting of social accountability bill, and accordingly the draft was submitted by the committee in 2020. Now, what is social accountability? This term has been defined as an approach towards ensuring accountability that relies on civic engagement, in which the ordinary citizens and a group of citizens, they participate in exacting accountability directly or indirectly. The effectiveness and sustainability of social accountability mechanisms is improved when they get institutionalized, and this mainly involves two things. First is that the state will act as a willing accomplice in the broader accountability project, and they will render their own internal mechanisms in a way which is going to make it structurally amenable to accountability. And secondly, the state also needs to identify and adopt mechanisms to facilitate and strengthen civic engagement and citizen voice. The components of social accountability practice, it includes collection, analysis and dissemination of information, mobilization of public support, advocacy and negotiation for a change. Here, social audit can also act as a very significant tool for maintaining transparency as well as social accountability. Coming to the major principles of social accountability, it includes information, which is known as Jankari in Hindi, followed by involvement and participation of citizens, which is Bhagidari. Then investigation in a time-bound manner, which is Karyavahi. Fourth is the protection of citizens, which is Suraksha. Then the right of every citizen to be heard, it is known as Sunwai, which will be followed by collective platform known as Janta Ka Manch, where the citizens can share their, thoughts and expressions. And lastly will be report dissemination, which is Prasar. There are countless citizens who are suffering from an inability to access their rights, and they have their complaints redressed in a time-bound manner, but there was no accountability of the errant government officials. So this is the major reason why we need this particular act, okay, Social Accountability Act. It will empower every citizen to hold the government institutions and officials accountable to them in order to deliver their rights as citizens. And it will also raise awareness about the law, and it will take up a sustained advocacy for passage of this bill in the upcoming assembly session. This can further contribute to improved governance, increased development effectiveness through better service delivery and through citizen empowerment. Some prominent examples of social accountability practices in our country includes the participatory planning and policy formulation of Kerala, then participatory budget analysis in Gujarat, citizens charter of Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and the participatory expenditure tracking system of Delhi and Rajasthan. And this was all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'll see you all again tomorrow with another segment of Current Affairs 365 only on Port Harcourt's IAS Academy, Northeast's premier institute for UPSC, APSC and NPSC preparations. Till then, take care, keep learning.
বৰঠাকুৰ IAS একাডেমি প্ৰস্তুতি আৰু অধ্যয়নৰ নিৰ্ভৰযোগ্য ঠিকনা। বৰঠাকুৰ IAS একাডেমি।